you can say the introductory part of this. Here I'm taking a point of making a topic of the industrial revolution, and then again I'll talk what is about the industry 4 we call, and what exactly is the essence in a very basic nutshell form. I will be talking about this, and will briefly explain about the smart manufacturing and exactly what is the role of artificial intelligence in this industry 4 revolutions. And I will just brief up with what is this artificial intelligence. Just I'll give you the tinge of the meaning of this artificial intelligence, so that how it is implicable for the IoT and hence the industrial revolution. So let us see what exactly do you mean by any industrial revolution. So industrial revolution is nothing but any revolution, whatever it is, we call that something great happens, is it not? So if it is an industrial revolution, it really changes the way you try to procure the goods, make the services, the way it has been produced and it is consumed by the customers or the end users. That is nothing but the industrial revolution. So basically, you can think about our life of our grandparents, great grandparents in the beginning of the century, that is the 21st century, and now how we are living. There is a great change. So what are the things that make our life that different? So that is nothing but some way we are actually going with the industrial revolutions ever since 18th century itself, but we are getting realized in this century a very in the fast pace. Let's have this, we can say, the step method of explaining the different revolutions that we had been coming through. So in 18th century, as already said, at the end of the century, we came up with the steam engines, is it not? So where the looms were running on this steam engine, and then we had even the railway, the railway wagon in India in 1853 it had been running, if you are remembering the dates we had been taught in the schools. So after this, the steam engine actually helped the living method, or the what do you call it, the trading methods and all, the manufacturing methods, the logistics, everything was much more revolutionized. This was the first time after the discovery of the wheel, where the wheel was just moving, it was in the bullock cart speed. Now later on the steam engine came into picture, then things became locomized. So that was what the industrial revolution was, and that we call as industrial revolution 1. And what is industrial revolution 2? This came up with the introduction of the electrical energy. Okay, so there we had about so much of mass production was happening. We had empowered the laborers, is it not? The laborers had much more difficulty when in the last revolution, but now in this the labor efficiency increased a lot. So that was what the industry 2, we can say. You can say about the industrial revolution 3 that we had been living with, as we are almost in plus 30 age. So we are all knowing about the automation of the robots, the we can say computers coming into picture. We can say how the mobile had started to get into the pictures. So all these things we have seen by our eyes. Probably we haven't seen the second or the first, but the third we are living with. So now the new revolution that has come into picture is the industrial revolution, which is really based on IoT. Now, this is the new revolution, they have called it, and India also has become part of this industrial revolution since in 2019, our PM had inaugurated one, we can say, a forum where we are a part of this also. So he has also thought of becoming a part of this industrial revolution, where your artificial intelligence will be given a greater chance to grow into our industries in India, whichever we are trying to go for, like probably in IT sectors or textiles we are working with. So many industries can join and be a part of this industrial revolution as in our country. So this was in brief up. So if you have to find out so many mechanical, auto, electrical, and what all the different things that we are doing here, I've just listed out instead of going with the points. We can see that in the small slide, I will just make it very in short, I will just put it out because we can have a lot of talk on this. In the beginning, actually, we used to have a simple central computer was there and many users were there, is it not? So as we went into 1980s, then we thought about the PC notebooks, and we saw that one computer, one user was there. And then came the age of the smartphones were used, and then smart cards came into picture. And then we went into the embedded computers, and then now we are having the intelligent environments where everything is autonomous. So this is the reason, the VLSIs, the technology coming into picture, the wireless sensor networks coming into picture, all these things, they have made us work with IoT. And IoT already, there is no, I don't have to explain more about IoT definition because already we have come with so many sessions. So IoT is already known to everybody. So this is what is called the intelligent environment that we are living in. So by 2020 and beyond, the graph is going to hike up like, so nothing more we can talk about beyond this. At least we are starting with this, means it will go some 20 years with the intelligent environment. So let us see what exactly will be the industry 4. Now everybody is knowing that we remember about washing machines. Washing machines were like embedded with our processors, is it not? So they used to go for some specialized functioning was there. There is a DSP in that. It is embedded, all these things are there. But this DSP in the washing machine, actually it will be simply making you locally happy there, making your work light, and you will be saving your time and efficient work will be done by you. But what about if you think about the companies, if you think about the society, if you think about the world, if you think about the intelligent environment? So how do you think it is growing into the Internet of Things? So somehow such technology, when it was taken with the cyber physical systems, and cyber physical systems are nothing but your IoT elements, is it not? So these sensors elements which are embedded with the processors, microcontrollers, connected with the Wi-Fi's, then working with the artificial intelligence, then we think that whole thing will be, along with the Internet of Thing as a concept, will give you the sense of Industry 4. So this is taken to the companies, this is taken to the efficiency of the work of the engineers, the laborers, or so many entities are there. So this is the essence of the Industry 4. In the industry, if you try to think about how the production will be increasing, we will talk it about in the next slides coming. So this is in short, I have explained how we can move into the Industry 4. So artificial intelligence becomes one pillar, and the IoT becomes the another pillar. I'll talk about this in detail in the next slides. Now, basically, when I talk about Industry 4, I have two types of integrations. Now, you'll tell about what is the meaning of integration, but we have one concept. This concept is coming and telling you the whole IoT and artificial can be arranged for the industry, can be arranged in horizontal vertical integration form. Now, if it is a horizontal integration, so what do I mean by this horizontal integration system? Okay, now in this horizontal integration, which will be, if it is done in the Industry 4, how it will be done? It will be done from the start of the raw material, we can say the raw material getting analyzed, then there is a production, then there's a marketing, then there is a customer, then you have so many partners running with you. All these people, when they are combined, when you have data from the lower end as a raw material to the user end as a customer, when you have a full cycle complete, this is nothing but the horizontal integration that I will show it in the pictures form in this slide. Now, if I am trying to explain this whole chain of the horizontal integration, I will see that I have on my left hand side the suppliers. I have the suppliers and the co-partners. If I am particularly a mobile industry, or if I am a particular cement industry, if I am a particular steel industry, I have to think about my suppliers, I have to think about my co-partners, I have to even think about my competitors, so that I can make an analysis of who is doing what. If I keep a track of all this, actually there is artificial intelligence in every level of this particular block that I've shown. In the left side, if I want to say that there is artificial intelligence in my supplier and other, somebody will say that what are you talking, madam? But yes, when you think about this particular information, like what are the supplies happening in the environment, what are the co-partner, or you can say the competitors are thinking of the same. So probably we'll be talking about one common domain. Probably if I'm talking about one car manufacturing, if people are thinking of one, somebody has launched some SUV, then probably if I am making the same thing without any change, so probably in the we can say in the end, my market, I'll not get a market. The marketing will not happen because it is already available in the market. So I have to think about that. So there are softwares, there are informations. We can have the statistics, we can have machine learning done for this, where you can make up who is doing what. We can we can keep a track of all these things that is happening, and that is why AI here becomes big. And this is again increasing. Every day we have new data. Every day, in the sense, every second there is a new data. So that the machine learning has to do this, the AI has to do this, and then it will give an input to the market analysis. Market analysis, these people, they're trying to make up new products. Depending upon the inputs, depending upon the needs, it will keep on designing the prototype. The prototyping is nothing but it is something, what you can say, ahead of making a production. Before you make a production, before you make a product, what you are trying to do is you will try to make some simulations, you'll try to do some prototyping, you will do some analysis on this, and then see whether it is viable. It is possible that this product, whatever you have designed, will have a proper success, or that is, it will be launched very successfully. So that is going to be explained in this prototyping, and here the AI will help the designing engineers or the developers to think about the right product at the right time. This is what is the concept of prototyping designing here in this development tab that I have shown. And if this is genuine, then it will go into the production. The production has so many features, like if you have finalized the prototyping, the design has been finalized, and it is going to the further layer of manufacturing. In that, your production has to be done. So the planners are there, they will make the production and the manufacturing before it is starting. It happens is, suppose you have some what do you call, some faulty material which is it's on the we can say the conveyor belt, and when it is moving forward, and by the time it is getting into the manufacturing, or it is getting assembled into the particular engine or something, before that, before the faulty or whatever is having some problems, if that is a defective part, it is getting assembled on the conveyor belt only, or while the product is I'm sorry, as the part is moving into the machine to be fitted, it is prior only it will be detected that this particular object or this particular part is faulty, and it will discern this part. And this part, when it is detected and isolated already, and who has told this? All the scanners, the image processing that is happening there, all these things, they are already getting the information, they are already fed with the inputs, what should be the parameters, what are the features, all these features are known. And when it is not there, it is automatically going to discern this. Now, this is not a part of automation. This is that every minute, it is every second it is learning. There is more number of data which is getting into the system for the production, and we try to keep the record of all the we can say the faulty elements or the discerned element. This is the problem. If this is the problem, we can delete it. We can remove this from the conveyor belt. That is there in the memory of the system there. Otherwise, only automation, it will simply discard it. But if it is AI, it will keep the data. Henceforth, when it is going to another defective part, if it is coming forward, it will try to delete it or remove it in a better time. It's further earlier, it will delete it. So that is what is the meaning of AI in the production. So this is one example that I have given to you. Actually, the IBM Watson has given the IT platform for the production level. What they have done is they have designed different machine learning algorithms. They have designed so many features oriented learning machines, machine algorithms, where they can easily identify the problematic features and then discard the faulty element. So this is what is there in the Watson IT platform that they have used here. And logistics, already we can think about the movement of your produced parts or the ready element, the ready product which has to be taken to the godowns or to the delivery sections. Or there are so many things we don't know at this academics, but these things are also happening with the in the logistics, and AI helps here as well. So AI becomes a very important part, because what happens is when you are trying to ship it out and when you're trying to move it to the warehouses and all, this management can be easily done by AI. Automation means you have to feed the input and it is going to do. But here it will think like a human being. If there is no place, the robot will just stand still. But if there is no place, but if a human being is there standing, you'll find another alternative path. You can find some other method and just justify the location and then find out a place to put this new what do you call new lot coming into the warehouse, and you can make an arrangement for that. So this robot will not do. But if AI is getting into this robot, what it will do is it will try to think like a human being and make the arrangements in the warehouses. It will also go for the planning of the these things, goods to be transmitted to the distribution element. So this distribution, when you try to have how to manage this distribution, now everybody might have experienced the tracking method. You have some order done and there is one mail, like you can track the placed order on this link. So we try to keep on tracking. So when you are trying to track, means there is some algorithm running around the device, is it no? So how it is happening, how your device location can be easily made up, and you can even think about the final time period when it will be arriving at your doorstep, or when it will be given to the customers, or when it will be given to the what do you call the retailers. So this is the complete cycle that is going to happen in your horizontal type of industry 4 integration. So if I talk about the next one, it will be the vertical integration. Now here, this is a closed room, we can say, like in a company, I will be thinking about my senses, I'll be thinking about my control, I'll be thinking about my SCADA, that is the supervisory covered, like data acquisition elements are there. And then you have this operation levels, then OE, that is the overall equipment efficiency, I will be checking. All these things till the product has been finalized. Here, these are my levels. Like I will think about the sensors at the field level, whether they are working properly, whether the interfacing has happened properly, whether it is having security, whether all these things will be considered, and that sensors and actuators are working in a very precise manner, that will be checked here. One of the examples I have taken in the future having a we can say the machines are efficiently working, there is some adjustable automation
I request to all the participants, please be connected with us. We are resolving the technical problem. Please stay connected.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Am I audible, madam? Hmm?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We are
I
able.
missed this vertical integration.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just go with this. Uh, so we're talking about the productivity and cost cutting. Whether the connectivity was lost at this slide. Am I audible properly?
Yes, ma'am. We are able to listen now.
Fine, madam. I continue.
Sure, ma'am.
So we had seen the vertical integration. My slides are there. So we had seen this vertical integration in the industry, and from the sensors and actuators we had started, and then when you find the production management, till that management we can go for the consideration of artificial intelligence in every layer. So in this layers, when AI is there in all aspects, that means we are so happy to have perfect production and perfect cost cutting can be done. We can use the energy optimization done properly. Don't worry, I will be explaining this much in a further manner in the next slides. So I was talking about this industry 4, which is going green. You can see how industry 4 will be going green, because when you are talking about industrial revolution, we always think that there is heavy revolution, or we can say conservative sources are much heavily used, but that is not the case here. Now, because we are trying to have a proper production, management, proper efficient method of utilization of energy resources, which are getting obsolete as and when we are trying to, as we're moving into the decades further. So this is very much great thing that the IoT along with the AI will help us go green in the industry for revolutions, and we can make our future, the student, I mean our children, much secure in the future. So urban production, we can say, we can help it. Why? Because even if you are close at your homes, you can do the work very nicely, even if you're not at the proper location. Probably sometimes nowadays we are trying to have the same feeling where though we are away from our places, IT people are all away from their places, but still they are working, because it's all because of the technology that's happening. So this technology is again taken into consideration into further place, and industry 4 will come much more in greater success in this revolution. So what is the smart manufacturing? The smart manufacturing is really highly connected, you can say. This is the definition given by some of the speakers. So it's a highly connected, knowledge-enabled industrial enterprise where all business and operating actions are optimized to achieve substantially enhanced productivity, energy, sustainability, and economic performance. So what exactly it is, we will think about. So when you think about, one second. Yes. I'm so sorry, there was some noise at the door. Now, because we are getting digitized, the digitization is happening. So that is the reason it becomes so easy for us to absorb the industry for. Now, because of this industrialization, we can think that computerization has helped us, and we have gained connectivity with Wi-Fi's and so many protocols that we'll see, and we have an AI vision for us. Artificial intelligence is giving us visibility. What exactly had happened? We are trying to learn things. We are trying because of the experiences. What we think is we will not making the same mistakes. So this data is with us. So erroneous, we can say the steps will not be followed by us. We will keep on having a better and better results in future, and we know what has happened, so what will be happening. All these things we are prepared, because even if as we are having the whole experience with us, we can predict what will going to happen in this future. So all these things make us an optimized, self-optimized system and help us to become a part of industry 4. So we can say that now one may think that the smart manufacturing will make us jobless. That is, we'll see that how it is not making us jobless. Old traditional factories, we had lot number of labor intensive works. We had, though there was low power output and productivity, but still there was major labor intensive jobs available. There were no risk, like we can say that the job will be lost, as people nowadays say that IT people, they lose their jobs so easily. So in the old traditional factory, the job problem was not there, but still it was having quality production was lower, and we have so many points I have listed. So everybody knows about these traditional factories. In the new smart factory arrangement, what happens is, because everything is automotive, we can say that there are less jobs. One part it is there, but it is opening so many other jobs. 70 to 80% new jobs are coming into picture. This is just because of the new domains that have opened up in the industry 4. Now this becomes again a very safer working place, because there will be less waste. E-waste will be there, which is reduced. Carbon credits that we think will be reduced, and production costs, again I've told already that it is going to be reduced, and customization will become very much flexible, because if it is going to be, if the customer is having the liberty, then the production also gets so much of we can say smartly generated, that everything becomes so customizable, and it's easy and fast. The product generated will be reaching the market so easily. So optimizations in the models will be there. Now here I have shown one, we can say some concentric circles. They are not concentric circles, but there are some domains that have opened up as new generation, new job availabilities. 100% automated Intel chip, they have getting this. This is 100% automated. Some engineers and technicians only will work in the smart factory. But if it is a medium-sized manufacturer, you can have 50% automated, 50% labor. He can accept. In small businesses, if they are opening small business, you can go for 25% automation is there, 75% labor will be available. And if there are services to be provided, if you want to support the ITs, then there is 100% availability of the jobs here, because every person will require consulting in every domain. So there is a big chance in this service orientation work. And again, the we can say educational and government and the healthcare, these are again going to create so many jobs. Why? Because whatever has been in the academically studied, whatever is happening in the academics, that has to be taken into the technology, and then we can give the technology to this health, we can give the technology to the government for the governance, and in this way there are much more job availabilities in the industry 4, which is not a danger, or it's not something we should be afraid of. It will really surely help us with the new jobs. Obviously, the old jobs will not be there, but then it will be helping the new jobs. Now, when it is going to be something like a driving force, artificial intelligence will give us some methodology or some method to go for becoming some intelligent method of making the productions, is it not? So we had thought about overall equipment efficiency will be optimized. We had thought about quality control. We had thought about generating the designs. We had thought about the robotics where the robots can talk to each other. That's why they're going to help us. This already I had talked about. And there are 5 key elements in this analytics technology. It is one of the papers had given this concept that it is having industrial AI means it is having 5 elements A, B, C, D. The first is analytics technology. The second is the big data technology. The third is cloud or cyber technology, and the next is the domain know-how and the evidence. Now, if I think about analytics technology, and anybody can tell me that when IoT is there, that means the data is growing by no leaps and bounds. And when the data is growing by no leaps and bounds, means every second there is increase in the data. Then who is going to control this? Because IoT gives the raw data, which is of no use. And if I'm making it pure, if I want to make it pure, AI has to be introduced in this. So AI, what it will do is it will do the analysis. It will do the analysis and keep only the important or the main data which is required for the future usage. So big data technologies will be enhanced only when the analytics has been done properly by the machine learning algorithms. Now, cloud technology is already there. Why? Because we have the flexibility and we have the storage capacity here. And as data is increasing a lot, so we can have a storage. No device storage can happen here. We can have the cloud as a storage, and also the domain knowledge increases. Probably if you're working in a particular sensor, so that sensor can have so many parameters to be done. It has to work with so many parameters. So all this data around the world, whoever is working will be much knowledgeable about this. So this knowledge domain will be kept and it will keep on increasing. It will keep on increasing, and it is really very much important in the industries. Evidences means you really have the evidences, like whatever results have happened, whatever conclusions they have obtained, these evidences and conclusions will be there ready for you for the study. And really the experiences, the analysis, all these are the backbones for the AI to sustain. AI will work only when it is having more experience or it is having more data, then only it is going to work. So this is the blending that has happened, like with the IoT. When it is working with AI, then the concepts become much more simpler, because it is like human making work with the machine power. So this is what the technology is. Like when I say about the AI, because AI, a few things I will be explaining in the future slides. But what exactly is the AI? AI is nothing but whatever is visible to you, anybody can do it. If the machine is having the visibility of some things, it can do. But what if it is not able to see the things? If some certain things are not visible, then how the machine will work? Even in that, it will try to solve the problems. It will try to solve the problems here. So if the things are visible, you can solve the problems, you can find the algorithms, you can avoid which is not value added. All those steps you can delete, those knowledge you can delete. But those things which are not invisible, then whatever you had the knowledge, utilize those and solve the problems. and try to find the value creation from this knowledge. So this is what we can avoid the wrong designs and plan for the good, even if the data or the things are not visible to you. This is what the short meaning of this graph is. And now if I try to compare the systems or the industries working with AI with other learning measure things, then we can see that this red line happens for the experts experiences. If you're having an expertized person, it will drop after a particular, because he has discontinued from the work. So that happens. There will be a discontinuity. And if I'm only using the AI and machine learning, the dotted line tells you that there is ups and downs and crests, but it will not reach the maximum optimum level. Expert systems, they are based on rules. They will be a step like production performance method. But what happening is the industrial AI, if it is implemented, then they grow by in a very gradual speed. It is growing, but till some time over the time, it will keep on better increasing. The performance will hike. So industry with AI will do great magic in future. Now let us begin with what is artificial intelligence. Now everybody remembers now this artificial intelligence. If I'm trying to give the basic meaning of artificial intelligence, that will be very helpful to understand what exactly this AI will do in the industry. So I will just go in a very basic form of the AI, which will give a tinge of the artificial intelligence, and it will help you understand its role in the industry for. Now let us, what do you mean by artificial? Anything which is made by human being is artificial. We can think about things which are made by human beings as becoming an artificial. Now what is intelligence? Intelligence is nothing but the ability to think, ability to learn, ability to have an experience, understand, and take decisions. This is intelligence. See, as you think about a small baby, the baby is trying to learn from the environment, from uh, the nearer people it is, and it is trying to understand their language, their way of conduction, and then finally it is now trying to gather knowledge, and based on that knowledge, when the child is going to the school, again gradually he is getting intelligent. So you just see the course that is designed for the students. It is designed like stepwise. Okay, in the 5th standard you say, ah, it was so easy in the 2nd standard. When you get to the 10th standard, you can say, yes, it was so easy in the 4th standard. So this is the way the intelligence is keeping on developing. So our machines also have to learn, keep learning, and then become more and more intelligent, and try to have the decisions on your own. So when a person is there having an experience, we can say he is a matured person. That means he can take a proper decision. So this is what we want to make our machines also to do. So machines will be intelligent, means they will be behaving like a human being. We don't say that one day that the machines will replace a human being. The human being is going to be assisted by the machines, not replace some human being. So that is what the aim of the concept is. So we'll see that reasoning power is there, we have thinking power, we have learning, we have the perception. Any machine will not have any perception on its own. Okay, so we have to have the human perception, we can say attribute given to the machine. Also, the problem solving is there with a human being, which is not there in the machine. Linguistic intelligence is there. We can learn as many languages where the machine cannot do this. So all these things, if you're trying to imbibe in a machine, then it becomes that an artificial intelligent machine. It is having the intelligence. So these are the parameters. That means we can say if a machine is having a thinking, learning, perception, and problem solving technique, and if it is having a linguistic intelligence, then it is going to be an intelligent machine. So this is what is the definition basically we can think about. Now everything revolves around the data science. This slide is really very important to identify, because many times it happens we cannot separate these three intelligences. I mean these three things that I have shown in the concentric circles. I have in the outer circle the big circle that is called as artificial intelligence, and the next circle is of the machine learning. That means the machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Then comes the deep learning. The deep learning is again a subset of the machine learning. So just see that when we're talking about machine learning means we are talking about something else, is it not? It is not deep learning. Deep learning is a different concept. Machine learning is a different concept. Only artificial intelligence also is a different. Let us just see now what happens in this artificial intelligence. Here actually we have to give the rules. Now I will explain you in further slides with some examples. What exactly will the artificial intelligence do is, here you have to write the programming. Now you might be aware of your processes. You write the opcodes, is it not? You write some rules. You have to write the rules and make the machine learn it. When you're trying to program it, then it is called as artificial intelligence. You write the C language, you write the opcodes. You have so many languages. You can just put it and it is called the artificial intelligence. But when the system learns from the data itself, mind well, when the system learns from the data itself, it is not getting programmed. It is learning from the given data itself. Whatever data you're trying, suppose you are having some sensor data, and those data, for example, I'll give an example of a, probably, suppose I want to differentiate between two fruits. Suppose it's an apple or the other is an orange. So here I don't have to program. What I have to do is whatever the image features are there. First, image processing comes here. The image features are considered like the color, the shape, the texture, all these are my features. When I give these features as a target value to the machine learning algorithm, there it is trying to train itself according to these features and will declare whether it's an apple, the next coming fruit is an apple or the other fruit. So this way it is learning on itself, and as it is more learning, it will be becoming more stronger. So more the data, better will be the machine learning. And what about this deep learning? Now, when you think about the IoT, you are having a big data. Now there is a limitation for machine learning. We cannot go beyond some particular size of data. So when you are having an extraneous, we can say a large number of data coming into picture, we cannot go for going for this machine learning or neural networks. For example, if you talk, basically if you're talking about machine learning, it becomes easier to think about a neural network. So when you think about this, we cannot go for a very large number of nodes in this. So what happens in this deep learning? There are convolution neural networks where only the features which are very important only are considered by the systems themselves, and then they give an application for the AI. Okay, so this is what is this basic difference between the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and the deep learning. Now, how will you explain AI? You just say you write the program, but where? How? So what is exactly the block diagram of AI? AI has so many things here. One is the environment it is going to work. Okay, it's a different environment. It's a domain dependent. So it is an environment. It is also a sensor along with an agent. That means there is a sensor with an agent, there is an environment. Now, when you are working with the environment, means probably, for example, if I want to have a photo, if I'm having I'll give an example. Suppose there is a robot which is asked to lift a book on the table. Okay, so the environment here becomes the image processing, is it not? It is simply picking and placing. I want to pick the book and place it to the other location. So here I will be asking my sensor, that means my image processing tool. It will capture the image, and it has been told that this is the image, this is the book which has to be picked and placed some other place. So I will be perceiving from this environment. My sensors will pick the image, find out what is to be done. The agent is told, agent is nothing but the algorithms that I have given to this. That means the processor is working here and I'm giving this commands that this is the picture or this is the thing that you have to do. And that is done by the actuators. Now the picking is an action which has not to be done by the agent itself. It's the processor will not do. The processor will give a command. Everybody knows this. There are actuators, there are motion elements. So these are the actuators. They will try to pick the book and the command is to place it. So again, it will do an action to place it. So this is a very simple example of AI where there is an agent and there is an environment. So depending upon the environment, the sensors will change, and depending upon the commands or the algorithms that you want to do, what is your problem, what is your work, what is your job, that will be told to you in the program, and it will be taking an action, appropriate action in the domain there, and the work is done. This is called as the AI. This is the basic model of AI, where there is an agent, there is an environment, and the sensors. So this is what the basic meaning is. Now, what are the different types of environments? Now, there are so many methods we can think about. Environments are of many types. They can be fully observable, partially observable. They are deterministic, means we can think about a mathematical model on this. Sometimes the environment can be probabilistic. We can have an episodic, or you can have a sequential. Suppose you have a static, the dynamic, the environment can be changing as well. Is it not? Suppose it can be discrete, continuous. So many methods are there. I will not get into the details because it will take a lot of time. And talking about an agent. Now, I'll give an example. Suppose you are pricked. What do you mean by reflex? If you are pricked by something, what happens? You give a reflex action. So that is what. This is the simple work by the agent. Given some task, given some senses, it will react. So this is a very simple agent. Model based means you are actually making it give some mathematical this thing is there, some rule is there, some mathematical model you are giving, and you're trying to ask it to that. The example that I have told you, just asked it, they pick and place. That was a model based. What is the goal based? For example, we can have an example of the rover on the Mars, for example. The goal is to lift a particular stone. Okay, what the rover will do is it will try to move according the commands, and it will try to have the lift of that stone and keep on filling its container. Now, because it is only told as a goal to pick a stone, so it will keep on even picking the similar stones. Now, where there we don't need the similar stones because it will be a loading concept. It will become heavy. Once the same stone is occurred next time, you should not pick it. But this is happening in the goal based. But if you talk about the utility agents, what happens is here your knowledge is helping you. What is helping? Because once this stone is picked, the similar stone will not be picked by you the next time. So here the utility agents come into, that is more knowledgeable. The agent is more knowledgeable. So this is what is the meaning of, in short, about the agents. Now I'll talk about some problem solving. I will tell you how a particular, you can say, this is going on. If I'm given some problem, how it will solve? Just now you've seen that it is given some task, it will program and then work out. But how it is happening? I'll give you very short examples of this. And this exactly will be helping you in the same way in the industry as well. So let us see if I'm trying to have basic examples, this will help me. Let us go for, there are so many methods, graph search, and I'll just give you some two examples, graph search and the first order logic method. Let us see, there are so many methods, and informed search are there, uninformed search. You will not get it because this will be a AI lecture otherwise. I'll just give you an example. Now, everybody knows that this is some graph. Okay, I can convert this graph to a tree. Okay, and I'm having some goal states. Now, when you think about one goal, that means there are so many stages. For example, when you are given one, we can say some game is there. There is one goal state, is it not? Some goal is there to achieve. There are many methods to achieve that goal. So if that achievement is shown in this, I can convert this into tree. Now I am going to just search. This is one root node. This is the start. This is the starting point. What I will do is I will keep on searching the different paths to that particular goal. So there are so many methods I can go for the goal. Okay. So this is the way I can go. This is the way I can go. This is the way I can go. So there are so many methods. I'll not be able to get into the further depths of this now because of the time bound. Now I have started my search. What is my problem? My problem is to reach a particular state, and that state is represented by a particular node, and that state becomes the required state becomes my goal. Okay. So when I'm starting, what I do is I have opened this node, means I am searching now. How many nodes I have? I have 2 children. This node is having 2 children. That we have this is the language of the data science. Okay. So this BC we have replaced. In my fringe, I'll call a counter where counter is giving me a BC node. Now I will remove the first node and keep the next children. So let us see what are the next children. Yes, D and E successors are placed in the end. Okay. Now who is the next? Which is to be opened up to be searched. I didn't find the goal here, so I will further search, is it not? So there is a C. In this C, I will do what is? I have to replace these C by the successors, DG. DG are the successors for the C, which are connected at the end. This is one method of doing. Now what happens? Now the E has come into picture. Now E is having no children, so we delete this. We delete this. Now what is coming in the next? The D is coming. Now D is having how many children? D and G has been there. Now how many children are there? B and F. Now B and F have been placed in the end. Okay. Now who is the next node? The next node is the G node. This is actually this is my goal that I have reached. The moment I reach my goal, I will stop my search. Why should I search for the further path? Once one search is there, one search is giving you a goal, it is more than sufficient. So this is how it is going to give you. This is called as a depth first search. Oh, sorry, breadth first search. The goal has been reached, and you see that it is a breadth first search. Why breadth? Because I am moving in a horizontally direction. If I move in the depth, it becomes a depth first search. This is a simple explanation of reaching a goal from a particular node. So what is the problem with this search is, if you are having if my goal was in the end, then you can keep on unnecessarily searching every node, which is killing your memory and the time. So time complexity is very high in this. So what is that? There are so many other methods, right? So we try to go for the other methods where we cut short and finally reach the goal in less time. So time complexity can be reduced by so many methods. So this was the simplest example that I have tried to do. Another thing is, if I have, this is one example that I'm trying to go with. Suppose I have initial stage. This is, everybody remembers one 8 puzzle we had been playing in our very school, college levels, and we can say even in the childhood. Yeah. When you had been staying, playing with this 8 puzzle. There are so many puzzles, but we have taken here. What is happening here? There are 8 digits, 9 places. One is empty. One tile is empty, and this is my goal state that I have to reach. Now see how the AI, how will you write the algorithm to make this initial state go into this goal? There are many places. I will just flip you out with this slide. And what are the rules? You can move the tile up, you can move a tile down, you can move the tile right, or you can move the tile left, and one at a time. That is the condition. Now I have replaced the slide point here, the start and the end game. Okay, this is the goal that I have to reach. Now this is the goal. Now G represents my level. Okay, G represents my level. This is start level, this is the first level, this is the second level, the third level. Okay, and I have given some values for that, 0, 1, 2, 3. That you keep it in mind. I am going to calculate one addition. What is that addition? G plus H. Now what is the H here? What is the H? H is a heuristic. H is a heuristic. What do you mean by heuristic? It is a knowledge, it is an intuition about my goal. For example, if I want to have this start state, if I compare, how many differences you have here? Like simple, you can say, we can have an understanding. Like, see, these 3 places are okay. Then there is this is one difference. This is okay. This is okay. This is okay. So there are 3 differences which I have to adjust and get to the goal. That is what I think in my mind. So I say the heuristic is 3. What is this? This is the heuristic. I'll repeat once again. This is the start, this is the end. And when I'm playing this game to reach this goal, what I see is, I see some 3 tiles are a mismatch. 3 tiles are a mismatch, which I want to correct. So what is my understanding? My understanding means I'm having the basic knowledge saying that there are 3 changes which are a must. So this is the heuristic, we can say. This is an information that we have. So now there are 3 ways that I can change my tile. There are 3 ways I can change, because this side I can't go. So my left is blocked. So I will have only 3. Just see, up, down, or right. So the tile has been moved. This is a blank tile. Blank, when it is moving up, the 1 comes down. Okay, I think you're understanding. And if I move this tile on the right, the 4 comes on the left. If I move the blank tile to the down, the 7 goes up. So these are the only 3 ways which I can go. So that's why I have drawn only 3 paths. Now, which one is the best? Okay, which one is the best? Let us see that. Again, I have G1 as 1, which have been the method here. G is taken as 1. Now, in the previous, we have calculated the F was G plus H, that is 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. Now here, the heuristic is 4. Just check out. If I want to check this with the goal state, there is a difference in the 2. No, no. There is 1 mismatch. There is a 2 mismatch. 3 is correct. There is this also is correct. This is a mismatch. This is, there are 4 mismatches. So heuristic is 4. I have F is equal to 5. The addition of these 2. What about this? Here I have H has 2. Just see, there is 2 as a heuristic. These are matched. This is matched. I don't care that blank. We don't consider the blank. So this is matched, and this is also matched. So this is mismatch, and this. There are only 2 mismatches. So I have a heuristic as 2. Right? What about this? You have G is equal to 1. Okay. But what is a heuristic? See, there are 3 matches. Okay. 1 mismatch, 2, this is matched, 3 and 4. So 4 mismatches. So I have F5. Just see now in this, similarly, I have H4, 2 and 4. Which one I will select as my search path? Whichever is giving me the F value as less. So F was defined by G plus H. So this is my value which makes me go for the first. So this location I will try to use. I mean this move, that is the right move I will go for. Again I'll do the same thing. Again I see there is a mismatch of 1 here, there's a 3 here, there's a 3 here, and the mismatches are now least in this. And what is the F value here? 3. So this F value is the path which I will move further. Now again I have this 2. This is only left or right. There is no bottom, and there's no point in going for the back stage. Okay, if I move here, I'll be going to this stage. So don't go to the back stage. Always move into the unreached states. So this is a new state. So out of this, again, I'll go for the searches and just say that this is the heuristic. Now this is the goal that I have reached. Is it not? So just see that this was the path I should select. So this, or we can say these are the moves that I can do at the earliest possible to get the particular goal. I hope you all have understood. Have you all understood this? Are you all getting the point? Participants, dear participants?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let us continue. So we have reached the goal state, and there is one more method of going with this. Instead of going for the long stages, let us have some propositional logic. Why not increase the knowledge of the systems? When you increase the knowledge of the system or the agent, things become much more easier. I will just move on with this example. Examples will be giving you a better understanding. Now you have how the knowledge is improved or how the knowledge is utilized here to get this search. Let us have this or let the job done. Okay, knowledge is helping us. I see there is a Wampus World is a very famous example which helps us to understand how the knowledge helps us to get to the solution, problem solving. So you can see there is a cave. The caves are never defined as this, but this is the method that they have helped us to understand. So the agent is there who will, what is the job is, what is the Wampus I will define. Wampus is nothing but a deadly beast, okay, and it is always stinking. It is stinking. It is having a very bad smell and it kills whoever enters the room. What is a pit? Pit is nothing but a bottomless. Like the pits, they are bottomless and you can never think about the end. Once you are trapped in, you will never come out. So that is one. And you have to catch the gold. Okay, and you have the movement authorities. You can have so many things you can do. Agent has these many senses. Can stench, smell, breeze. And when there is a pit, you have the breeze. When there is a pit, around that, there is a breeze. Okay. So if you try to have the breeze, means you'll sense that, yeah, there is a pit. If there is a stench, you can sense that, yes, there is a wampus. And when you want to, when you have seen the gold, when once you occur with the gold, you catch it. Okay, you can grab it. That action is there with the agent. Also, you have one shot is there with you. You can only shoot for once. Okay, so that agent is going to work like this, like you can move forward, turn left or turn right or grab. All these are the actions it has to be doing. Let us move on. And what is happening? Once you get the gold, you are given with the award. And if you are getting into the pit, you will be taken away from these many points. Okay, so these are the points that are given. So if you pick the gold, that is the maximum aim that we have. So let us move on the game. So now agent is here. Agent is here. Okay, and I have to move and get the gold, right? Now, this knowledge base agent, we will, in short, you have written KB. It is initially going to have some rules. Okay, it has the rules of the environment, everything. It is knowing, it is having all those senses. Everything, it will sense the bumpers like the stench, it will sense the pitch with the breeze. All these things will be there. Now, when the bumpers is moving, or at this place, there is nothing. There is no breeze, there is no smell or nothing. And it says that it is safe, but now it has to go for the gold search. It will move to this side. It will come to this position. A has come here, agent has come here. Now, what has happened here? The moment it has come here, you say that there is a breeze because there was a pitch here. If it is getting a breeze here, it means it is understood that there is a pitch. See, it is understanding. The agent is understanding that there is a pitch, there's a pitch here or pitch in the 2,2 block or 3,1 block. Here it already knew that it is not going to happen. So 90 degrees movement only it is going to do. So there is either a pitch in 2,2 block or there is a pit in 3,1 block. So either of the two will be giving you the sense or the knowledge. It is going to go and see that, yeah, there are two pits here. I mean, it may be here or it may be here. Now, what it will do is it will come back. It will come back because it will not move further, knowing that there is a pit ahead. Now, what is done? When it is coming back, and again it has to move into this. Now, here, once it is going, it is getting a stench smell. That means there is probably a wampus here, or probably the wampus is at 2,2. But 2,2 already had the information that there is a pit. So pit and wampus cannot be together. Is it not? If there is a wampus here, it will be down. Is it not? So there is only one threat. That is, there is a breeze. So no wampus here. No wampus here. But there is simply a breeze. Now what is happening is, the breeze, the wampus will be here. So it will be simply moving further. Now, when it is getting, now what is happening is, there, it had obtained, when it was in 2,1, it had obtained that there was a breeze. But here it did not get any breeze. So he says that 2,2 is the safe place. Now, once it is there, it is going to again go into 2,3. Now here, it is trying to have a glitter because there is a gold. There will be gold. Now, because there is no wampus, there is no pit, it will grab the gold and come back the path it has gone. And it is reached the place, the home place, safely. So that is what the understanding is. This is the algorithm, we can say. We have less time into this, so we'll move on. So many pits we can have. So these are the different jobs which agent has to understand, and depending upon the knowledge base, it is going to try to have the utilize the knowledge and try to have the proper work done. So if we try to implement this in your companies, in the industries, that also will help to make the work done efficiently. Now, there is a propositional logic. What this is a simpler method. Let us go with this. Everybody, I'll just move off, just brush up with this part. There are some symbols. Just see. This is a symbol for the not. Today is not Monday. That I can say with this symbol. Disjunction. You should eat or watch TV at a time. I can explain that with this. Or conjunction, we can say study and then score marks. This is with this. If then, if it rains, then the road is wet. It can be shown by this symbol. I will go to the mall only for the shopping. That means if I have to go for the shopping, then only I'll go to the mall. This will be showed by the two arrows, two-sided arrows. I'll give an example here. I will just see that logic means I will be using the sentences with the logic and I'll operate for these. Let us have an example. Just see if it is or. Everybody knows that anything with one positive value will give you a true value. So likewise, I'm having so many. Let us have if then. It becomes a bit difficult to analyze. Let us have if it rains, then the road is wet. If it rains, then the road is wet. If it rains, the whole set of words is called P. And the road is wet, I'll call it as Q. I'll call it as Q. Now, both are true. Both are true. If it rains, it is true. Then the road is wet. If it is true, then obviously, if then it will be, because if it rains, then the road is going to be wet. So what is the conclusion? Yes, the if then will give me. So simply by saying P, simple arrow, I will get a Q. So this symbolic logical representation will make my work done simply by putting this symbols. Now, if it rains, then the road is not wet. See, if it rains is a positive, then road is not wet, inverted, it's a false. If I combine them, whether it is true, if it rains and the road is not wet, will that happen any times? Never. So it is false. Now, if it does not rain, then the road is wet. Is it that way? It is true. If it is not going to rain, somebody has washed the road, probably it will be wet, nothing. So it is true. In the FF, if it does not rain, then the road is not going to be wet. It's again true. There is no rain, then the road will never get wet. So that is again true. So this is what logically we can combine sentences, and with simple letters or logical commands, we can make the whole work done. This was the meaning of this. This is another example that I can go for if and if. There is this less time that I'm trying to have. You can access internet from the campus only if you are the CS student or you are not freshman. Let us have this. See, you can access red line is a P parameter I have defined. Black, it is only if you are a CS student. I have mentioned it as a Q and you are not a freshman. So how will I symbolically write this? P is this. You can access internet from campus only if you are a CS student. If condition. Or you are not a freshman, or is this operation I had told you, and not a freshman with this. So the whole line can be explained by simple these. So these logical operations I can execute very easily. So just see how the AI rules and using this propositional method can help me get so much of explanation. So let us see what is the machine learning basics now. When AIs are there, that means the rules are generated. What about the machine learning? I have shown here some image of an input. My machine learning should say that it should be able to classify it as a car or a bus. Okay, this is one example that I've taken. In the machine learning, I have told you there are neural networks. The neural network itself becomes a big lecture. So I've shown you with these nodes. Okay. I have given a picture. That means the picture is provided, the data is provided. What is happening? The feature extraction is happening here. Feature extraction is happening here, and it is trying to extract the features of a car. What happens? The car has some design, some parameters like two bulbs, there is a windshield, there is a car, there are mirrors, there are so many things we can identify, so many pictures are there which can give you the features. You can put them as the input to the this thing for the neural network, and it is stored as a target values. And when the next time another picture of the car comes, it is again scanning and trying to have the new features. It will try to match and find out, because already it is learning. It is learnt that these are the features for a particular car. And when I come again with the same features, I'll try to match the old stored features, and then I'll say that yes, these features which are coming in are matching with that stored one. That means this is the car that I will define. So this becomes a car. So we'll give it as an output as a car. Right. So this is the way it will define it as a car and not a bus. So like way, this machine learning will try to have the features obtained from the image. Okay. So there the feature extraction part is there, which is very important. This is what is a machine learning. Now, this I already have covered. Now, in the deep learning, what happens is you are given input, okay, but your algorithms themselves will find the features. You don't have to program for the features. You don't have to extract the features. The program itself will extract the features and then define, because there are so much of data coming into picture. So they will explain their own features, which is the best for classification, and will define it as a car. Okay. Or if it's a car, it's a car, otherwise it's not a car. So that is the output. So this is the way we go for the deep learning. So this was what the content for this section, and I'm happy all have been listening. So if you can ask questions regarding something which you have come across, you can ask. Yes, please.
I request the participants to ask the questions if you have. Else you can place the questions in the chat box also.
Just check the chat box. Sir, one question from Jokare sir is there. Blockchains, they are going to go for, you can say, algorithm. When we're having the protocols will take care about this coding and encryption and decryptions, and there they're going to help the smart manufacturing. But somehow they have again some limitations, sir. Blockchains, they cannot handle, we can say, the visual data and all those things. So probably after some conclusions, probably even blockchain will be a stop. They will not come forward further. Blockchain, they have some limitations. They do help in manufacturing processes, and you can say data analysis and all those parts are still reliable with the AI only, because analysis can be done very nicely with the AI. Blockchain will help you in protocol and all those things and security aspects. But when you want to reduce the data, when you want to have a simple corresponding features only to be taken forward, in that case AI is the best option. We cannot avoid this, because when there is a big data, you can go for the algorithms for protocol matching and all those things, compatibility with the internet and all those things. But when you go for we can say sortifying the data. When you want to sortify the data and make it meaningful, then AI is the only option. Am I coming to the point, sir? Jokari sir? Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any other
Anybody
question?
else?
Any other question, please?
Actually, I have taken the very basics of AI, and there are so many. We can have a set of 50 lectures on whatever the AI concept is. But because of very short time, I couldn't go for further algorithms. But that was what I could make you give a tinge of this. I think no questions. Can we stop then, madam?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Thank you, madam,
ma'am,
for giving us. Yes, ma'am.
for sharing your knowledge with us and making us much clear various concepts in industrial revolutions and artificial IoT with practical examples also. So, with the permission of today's speaker, uh, Professor Mrs. S.R. Sakri, I declare that the session is over and we'll meet again with the same link after 1 hour break, that is at 1 p.m. We'll be meeting here with the same link. So I request all the participants to join after 1 hour. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.